Rome, around the 2nd century AD. It is deep into the night when an oil lamp falls inside a crowded apartment building. The flame catches a hanging cloth, then a wooden beam. Within moments, smoke is climbing the stairwell, cutting off the families sleeping above. There is no emergency number to call. No motorized fire engine is coming. But somewhere in the darkness, a patrol hears the first screams. These men are not legionaries. They are Rome's forgotten firefighters, the Vigiles. And tonight, they are all that stands between a single flame and a citywide disaster. The Rome tourists imagine is a city of marble, temples, triumphal arches, and imperial palaces. But most Romans did not live in marble. They lived in crowded apartment blocks known as insulae. The ground floors often contained shops and workshops, while poorer tenants climbed narrow stairs to small rooms high above the street. Many buildings used timber in their floors, roofs, and upper walls. Cooking fires, braziers, and oil lamps burned inside rooms packed closely together. Below them were bakeries, taverns, and workshops. All needed flame. All could start a fire. Rome had aqueducts and public fountains, but water did not simply appear at the top of every apartment building. A fire beginning on an upper floor could grow faster than people below could carry water up the stairs. Ancient writers repeatedly treated fire and building collapse as ordinary urban fears. Augustus even restricted the height of buildings beside public roads. The regulation itself tells us how dangerous the city had become. Rome was the greatest metropolis of the ancient Mediterranean. It was also a maze of fuel. For generations, Rome had no permanent public force capable of protecting the whole city. Officials, slaves, neighbors, and privately organized crews might fight a blaze, but the response was inconsistent. Wealthy men could protect their own property. The poor were often left to save whatever they could carry. The politician Marcus Licinius Crassus became notorious for buying burning or endangered properties at desperate prices. Whether every detail of the story is true or not, it captured a brutal reality. In Rome, another man's disaster could become an opportunity. Augustus understood that an imperial capital could not depend on improvised bucket lines. After repeated fires, he created a permanent force in AD 6. Its members were called the Vigiles Urbani, the watchmen of the city. The new force was organized on a military model. 7 cohorts were assigned across Rome's 14 administrative regions, with each cohort responsible for 2. Modern estimates usually place the original strength at roughly 3,500 to 4,000 men, though the organization changed over time. Many early recruits were freedmen, former slaves. Elite Romans did not initially view firefighting as honorable military service, yet the men given this low-status job became essential to the survival of the capital. They lived and trained in main barracks called stationings. Smaller posts, known as excubatoria, placed men closer to the streets they patrolled. Above them stood the Praefectus Vigilum, the prefect of the watch. His responsibilities went beyond fire. The Vigiles patrolled Rome after dark, helped maintain public order, and dealt with crimes linked to the night. They were part fire brigade, part night watch, and part paramilitary police. When most of Rome slept, their working day began. Return now to our burning apartment. This specific family is a reconstruction, but every part of the danger is drawn from the conditions of ancient Rome. A patrol reaches the street and immediately faces a decision. If the flames are still small, water and heavy cloth may smother them. If the fire has entered the roof and adjoining buildings, saving the first structure may already be impossible. The watchmen raise the alarm. Residents spill into the street carrying children, blankets, and wooden chests. Others appear at upper windows, trapped above a staircase filled with smoke. The narrow street becomes an obstacle. Frightened people are pushing one way, while firefighters force their equipment in the other. There are no protective breathing masks, no fireproof uniforms, no powered ladders. The men enter with the same air, heat, and collapsing timber as everyone else. The Vigiles relied on organization more than advanced technology. The aquaria managed the water supply. The siphonaria operated hand-powered pumps. Other specialists carried hooks, axes, ladders, and equipment for breaking through walls. Buckets could be passed along human chains from fountains, basins, and cisterns. Pumps could direct a limited stream of water, but their range and pressure were nothing like a modern hose. Heavy cloths called centones could be soaked and pressed over smaller flames, or used to shield nearby surfaces from sparks. And when a building could no longer be saved, the most effective weapon might be destruction. Using axes and long hooks, crews could pull down part of a structure to create a gap that the flames could not easily cross. To stop the fire, they sometimes had to destroy a Roman family's home before the fire destroyed an entire neighborhood. Back in our reconstructed street, the order is given. The burning roof is lost. The neighboring workshop must come down. The owner protests, but the hooks are already biting into the beams. Fire was not the only danger gathering in the street. Darkness, panic, and abandoned homes attracted thieves. A disaster could empty several buildings in minutes, leaving possessions unguarded and streets filled with confusion. This was why the Vigiles also had a policing role. They watched for looting, investigated suspicious fires, and enforced rules intended to reduce fire risk. Roman law treated negligence seriously. A careless cook, baker, or property owner could endanger far more than one household. The prefect of the watch could hear cases involving fires and certain nighttime crimes. The force therefore had to fight two battles at once, one against the flames and another against the disorder surrounding them. By dawn, our imagined fire has been contained. One apartment block is badly damaged. The workshop beside it has been deliberately torn apart. But the fire has not reached the next street. For Rome, that counts as a victory. But no brigade could guarantee the safety of a city this dense. On the night of July 19, AD 64, a fire began near the Circus Maximus. Fanned through districts filled with shops and combustible goods, it burned for days, appeared to weaken, and then erupted again. According to the historian Tacitus, only 4 of Rome's 14 regions escaped undamaged. 3 were completely destroyed, and 7 were left in ruins. Later legend claimed that Emperor Nero played music while Rome burned. The famous image of Nero fiddling is impossible. The violin did not yet exist, and Tacitus says Nero was away at Antium when the fire began. He returned to Rome and organized relief, although rumors that he had ordered the destruction continued to spread. The Vigiles fought the inferno, but the scale overwhelmed any ancient response. Some people even claimed that men were preventing fires from being extinguished. In a terrified city, firefighting, demolition, looting, and suspected arson became almost impossible to separate. Afterward, Nero imposed new building rules. Streets were widened, building heights were controlled. More fire-resistant materials were required in exposed walls, and access to water received greater attention. Rome rebuilt, but it never became fireproof. Nearly 2,000 years later, traces of Rome's night watch are still emerging. In 2026, archaeologists excavating in Villa Celimontana, on the Caelian Hill near the Colosseum, uncovered a 2nd-century building with 8 known rooms. 5 had been fully excavated when the discovery was announced. Inside were frescoes and an elaborate mosaic showing marine creatures around a large vessel. The design resembles decoration found in the known barracks of the Vigiles at Ostia, Rome's ancient port. That similarity has led archaeologists to ask whether the building belonged to the nearby complex of the 5th cohort of the Vigiles. The location also makes sense. The cohort's barracks used water from a nearby aqueduct. But the identification is not yet certain. The decorated rooms could instead have formed part of an elite private residence. Archaeologists have been careful to present the barracks theory as a hypothesis awaiting further study. That uncertainty does not weaken the discovery. It is the process of history happening in real time. The Vigiles never conquered a kingdom. They never marched in a triumph. Ancient historians gave far more attention to emperors and generals. But every night, while Rome slept, these mostly forgotten men entered burning buildings, carried water through crowded streets, and tore down homes to save neighborhoods. The Roman Empire depended on legions at its borders. The city of Rome depended on the men who made sure it was still standing at sunrise. And beneath a quiet park beside the Colosseum, their story may be returning to the light. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden side of ancient Rome, subscribe. There are still thousands of stories buried beneath the empire's monuments, and we are only getting started.